Welcome back. This is Jacob Milliken over at 9M Investments. And today I'm going to be talking about structured notes. I'm using structured notes quite a bit over the last 6 months to a year. Um, but what I find is most people have never heard of a structured note. So today I wanted to go through what is a structured note and give you a couple of real life examples of how I've used them in clients' portfolios. So structured note trades a lot like a bond. They actually trade on the bond desk, whether you're whatever custodian you're working with. I work with Schwab and TD Ameritrade. If I want to do structured notes, they trade through their fixed income desk. Just like a bond, they have time frames. So in this particular example, this bond or this structured note is based on a 5 years. And this particular one is a callable bond, but it's not callable for 1 year. So very much just like a standard bond, it'll have a time frame. It can be callable or non-callable, which just typically means that they can give you back their principal and take back the note, and you have to go out to the market and go buy another bond or go buy whatever it may be. Within structured notes, they're typically based on a index, or they can be based on a security. This particular one is based on the S&P 500 index. So let's jump into this particular example. So this is what they call a market growth note, issue protected callable market link growth note from Citibank. All these notes are released essentially on a monthly basis. And all the banks, they have growth income notes. They have ones that are based on yield. But the one that I'm looking at today that I'm going to show you are based on growth notes. So Citibank had a growth note that was last November or last October, traded on 10/31, settlement date 11/03 of last year, matures in 5 years. Now, the way that this particular note works is the way this client was looking at it when she became a new client last year. Um, she had just lost a good chunk of money. Her portfolio was very aggressive, but she wasn't quite retired yet and knew she still needed to have some of that S&P 5 exposure, but couldn't take any more downside losses and wanted that protection. So where do we go get that protection? And so a note is a good way to get protection to the downside. So even though this is based on the S&P 500, this is 100% issuer protection, so zero or max loss of zero. So no matter what this note does over the next 5 years, you're going to be zero. So the S&P 500 is down 10%, you're going to be down zero. If it's up, well, we can talk about that. So how this works, based again on the S&P 500, if it's up in 5 years, you get upside participation times one times, not capped. So for 100% downside loss protection in the 5 years, whatever the S&P 500 is at in 5 years, you'll get that full amount. You always hope that it goes up from here. But we also mentioned that this note is callable. So this particular one is built on what they call an auto callable. And it says if the underlier is greater than 100% in 1 year, and then we're going to call it automatically. So currently, the S&P 500 up on this note is up 5%. So if this happens to be a year from now, or on, let's see here, what's the call date on this one? On 10/31, they will auto call it if the S&P 500 is up, and you will get a premium of 15.1%, which is a nice premium based on this note. So in the long run, kind of both ways, if the S&P 500 is down at 1 year, well, then you go to the full 5 years. Again, you can't lose anything, and you will just get whatever the S&P 500 is 5 years from now. So you don't lose anything on the upside, and the whole time you are protected. If in 1 year the S&P 500 is up, they will automatically call the note, and for lending them that money, essentially you will get a 15.1% premium. Now, that is a fantastic number. And my client was more than willing to give up some upside possibilities for zero loss and a premium of 15%. But here's the risk. Let's say at the end of 1 year, the S&P 500 is up 20%. Well, you're still only giving up getting that 15%. So there is some upside risk within a note like this. Now, again, this particular client was okay giving up some of that upside to make sure that there was zero downside. And again, still having exposure to that part of the portfolio, they still needed exposure for the S&P 500. So again, one example of how this particular client used it to get the zero loss, and the possibility that the market is up over the next year, kind of lock in a 15% gain, or if it makes it to the 5-year portion of this, complete upside with a zero, a zero loss protection on that. So again, for this particular client, was a good mix. Gave her the upside and gave her that downside protection to know her money wasn't going to go any down further from there. So anyway, I hope this was a good example. Let me know if you have any questions on this, and I will be talking to you soon.